Lloyd, and I'm one of the biology lecturers at the College of West Anglia, and I'd just like to welcome you to a little introduction to A-level biology. So you can see from here that we study the AQA specification for A-level biology, and there are lots and lots of different opportunities within the biological sector throughout industry in lots of different places. And here are some of the examples of things that you might like to go into if biology is one of the subjects you'd like to study as part of your A-levels. You may wish to progress onto a degree programme, and according to bestcourseforme.com, top 7 degrees taken by people who have got an A-level in biology are biology, psychology, sports and exercise science, medicine, anatomy, physiology and pathology, pharmacology, toxicology and pharmacy chemistry. There are lots of different options and varieties there. Obviously that list is not exhaustive, and also we have students who like to progress onto science-based and laboratory-based apprenticeships once they've completed their A-level biology. Lots of different career options. Again, as I said, you may wish to work in industry, in laboratories, to study biology linked course at university. It gives lots of different career options. So you could be a lecturer in higher education, you could be a teacher in a secondary school, soil scientist, you can go towards dentistry, becoming a doctor, veterinarian, clinical molecular geneticist, nature conservation officer, pharmacologist or research scientist. So there's lots of different options of possible careers that you could go into. So as part of our A-level programme, we cover lots of different topics. We will cover topics in the first year and then in the second year, but we will continually revise over everything that we've previously learnt as we go through both years. Because as you can see here, it's a 2-year programme, but all of the exams are at the end of the second year. So we start off in the first year by having a look at biological molecules, so it's things like proteins, carbohydrates and lipids. What are they? What are they made of? What are they used for? We then have a look and move on to cells. So what are cells? What's the difference between plant and animal cells? Prokaryotic and eukaryotic, or human and plant and animal versus bacterial, for example. What are the different structures that you find inside a cell? What are their functions? We then have a look at how organisms exchange substances with their environment. So that will be looking at things like gaseous exchange with breathing. It will also be having a look at our own transport system. So once we've got these nutrients, biological molecules or gases inside us, how do we transport those around? So we look at the cardiovascular system as well. We then move on to genetic information, variation and relationships between organisms. So we then have a look at, okay, what makes different types of organisms similar to each other? What makes them different from one another? How do they interact with each other? You know, predator and prey, how does that work? Why does it work the way that it works? The second year topics, we then also have a look at energy transfers in and between organisms. So we finished off the end of the first year by looking at potentially predator-prey relationships and a bit of ecology. We're now looking at, okay, how does that energy transfer between those different organisms? So how much from a prey animal moves into a predator when it's been eaten? How much from a plant or a producer is consumed? How much energy is actually taken in by that organism that's eating the grass, for example? We have a look at how organisms respond to changes in their internal and external environments. So this is very much looking at homeostasis. So we're having a look at the central nervous system, the peripheral nervous system. How do nervous signals get sent around the body? How is the heart controlled by not only itself, but the activities that you do? How does it change depending on what you're doing? We look at kidney functions and osmoregulation, and we look at how hormones will also have an impact on the body, either as a localized area or on a wider scale. We then move on to number 7, so we have a look at genetics, populations, evolution and ecosystems. So we're building on that topic 4 from the first year, so we're really looking at genetics in much more depth to see what are the influences of these different types of genetics on overall populations in ecology. How have they adapted and evolved over many generations? How does that mean that they link in with their ecosystems? And finally, topic 8, we have a look at the control of gene expression. So why is it that certain genes are expressed in certain ways and others either aren't expressed or are masked or are expressed in a slightly different way? So what is it that influences all of these different things? So you can see from this, we do look at lots of different subjects across the 2 years. And we find that it's very important for students to complete practical work. So you're learning the theory behind what is happening, but you also need to be able to practically do it. So you will achieve something that's called a practical endorsement whilst you're on the course, which is showing competencies in a variety of different practical techniques. However, we will complete many more practicals than those that are required for this endorsement, because it's really important to be able to evidence this is what you've been told is as a fact. Okay, here we go. We can do a practical investigation that is going to prove that this is true. So some of the things that we'll have a look at is using microscopes in various different ways. One example here is to have a look at cell division. We will dissect different types of animal organs and also plant systems. We will have a look at microbiology, so the aseptic technique and how we can use that to study microbial growth. We'll look at the activity that's happening within cells, and then on a much larger scale, having a look at how do different animals and different organisms behave, and how are different organisms and different species distributed in an environment. So why is it that certain plants grow in certain areas? So quite a few different things that we will have a look at. So mentioned that all of your exams will be at the end of your 2nd year. So at A-level biology, we will have 3 2-hour exams at the end of the 2nd year, and at least 15% of the total marks for A-level biology are based on questions within those exams that are to do with what you've learned and the skills you've developed and the techniques you've learned in your practicals. So as we've said, they are really important to develop those skills in themselves, but also they will link in and you will be essentially tested on your practical skills within your written exams. So if you like the sound of A-level biology, we have got some entry requirements to have a look at. You'll be required to have 6 GCSEs at grade 4 and above, and this will need to include maths and English. You will also need a grade 6 in biology or in double science, and because biology and maths go hand in hand, there's lots of statistical analysis required. We are also looking for a grade 6 in maths as well. If you've got any questions specifically about biology or in general about the A-level programme, please do not hesitate to contact us and one of the team will be more than happy to help you. Thanks for listening. Bye.